Hello, welcome to the Women Motorsports. Joe Samaniego here, along with Daniel Zeri from Racers, the girls behind the helmet. Before we go on the air, we want to give a big special thank you to our Patreon subscribers for supporting the Grid Network all year long. Calling the show, Mark and Robin, thank you for keeping us on the air. You too can keep us on the air by going to our Patreon page or buy me a coffee, a one-time contribution to the Grid Network. And of course, everything helps us stay on the air, get to the track. And down, you were at the track, Monza, the 6 hour race, World Endurance Championship, and we saw something very historic from the Iron Dames.
Absolutely. Hi, Joe. Hi. Hello, everyone. As you mentioned, last week I was in Monza for the 6 hour of Monza, the fourth round of the World Endurance Championship, and the first round after the big race, the 24 hour Le Mans. And Iron Dames, after their very good, but a little bit disappointing after the tire blow on the very first laps. They still finished P6, so it was a very strong race for them. And so they really wanted to pick up more points in Monza. They had raced the week prior to the WEC race in the ELMS, so they had already a 4 hour race under their belt just a couple of some days before. And again, they had a massive weekend, historic one, as you mentioned. On Saturday, Sarah Bovy, who has really become one of the fastest drivers in the field, put it on pole. And that was the very first pole position for Iron Dames for the number 85 pink Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo, GTE Evo. That was the first pole for the project, but also historically the first time that an all-female crew scored a pole position in World Endurance Championship. So they keep writing history. It's a project that we've seen since the very beginning in 2019. It has made such a huge progress, race after race, and now they're really always aiming for a podium or for a top three. So the qualifying was already pretty remarkable, and we have a small audio clip of Sarah Bovy, a pole sitter in the GTE class after her historic achievement.
Yeah, it was a crazy session, to be honest. I was really unhappy with what I was doing for the 8 first minutes. And yeah, a lot of little mistakes. I think a lot of, approximation coming from the fact that I knew that we could do it. We worked very hard for it, and I wanted to deliver. And I kind of got the message on the radio that it was time to do the lap. And I'm really happy that I managed to clip it at the end. It was a very nice lap, and I definitely pushed with everything I had. Thinking about my teammate, about my team, about all the hard work that we have done. I did my first race in WEC last year here. It's been a year that I'm racing in that championship, and doing the first pole position here is a great achievement, and I feel very lucky that I had the opportunity to do it.
Obviously, the pole position was not the end goal, because they really wanted to even top that achievement the next day with a podium or maybe a victory. They were really fast in practice. They had the pace. They knew they had the pace to keep it right there, and probably battled for a victory. Sarah started the race and had a very good opening 2 hours. She kept the lead. She really remained up in front throughout her first 2 hours, even though there was a little bit of a battle with an Aston Martin, number 33 Aston Martin earlier, and then the number 77 Porsche. But she didn't crack under pressure. She really held the first place until a full course yellow, when they switched the drivers to Michel Gatting. That went smooth as well. Michel did a shorter stint, because then after another, actually at a safety car, Rahel Frey took over. So that was a little bit of an unfortunate moment for them, because they had built a over 30 second lead at that point, because of the Aston Martin. That there was the TF Sport Aston Martin had a penalty before, so they had just dropped to over 30 seconds behind the Iron Dames Ferrari. And then obviously I think everyone saw the replay on social media in these days, when the Aston Martin really had probably a brake failure going into the second chicane, and took off over the sausage curbs and landed upside down. So that was a massive crash for the number 33 TF Sports Aston Martin, luckily with no consequences for the driver. But then after that, the safety car bunched up the field again. So for Iron Dames, that was not ideal, because they lost that huge margin over the 77 Proton Porsche. And then Rahel Frey, who is the gold-rated driver, Iron Dames opted to put Rahel in that critical stage of the race behind the wheel. She did very, very well, because they were the number 85 Iron Dames Ferrari and the 77 Porsche were really, really running close throughout the stint, the double stint, like at a few tenths of a second. But Rahel really did great. Also with Harry Tinknell, so a platinum driver, she managed to keep him behind throughout the whole stint. And coming into the final hour, they really thought they had the race in their hands. The victory seemed so close and so possible. And then there was a full course yellow. Everyone pitted during the full course yellow, and the Iron Dames they knew that they had to extend a little bit of the stint, because they were running a little bit tight on fuel. So they were trying to avoid possibly a platinum dash in the final laps. So they opted to stay out a little bit more, trying to pit still on the full course yellow, but they thought that the full course yellow would stay out for more time. And unfortunately, when Rahel did pit at the end of that stint, the race went back to green, like at the very same second. And so everyone was really going faster on track, and they lost all the lead, and they were all of a sudden 40 seconds behind the number 77 Porsche, even if they really didn't lose the position on track. So that they still, Michelle Gatting, who was behind the wheel in the final hour, did really well. She managed to keep the gap, but really there was not much she could have done to catch back the number 77 Porsche, and they came home in second place, which is, of course, when you're leading for 5 hours, it's a little bit disappointing. But we have to remember that this is the Iron Dames' very best result in their project. They have also, of course, it's record-breaking result in WEC for a female driver, for a female crew as well, and for a female driver, because only female driver, sorry, to have scored a podium in WEC was Keiko Hihara, a Japanese driver in LMP2 class, over 7 years ago. So that was quite a hiatus for them to break. And they finished P2, which is pretty good. And we have a small recap of their races by both Sarah Bovy and Rahel Frey.
A lot to celebrate this weekend and lots of positives to take.
Yeah, sure. I mean, for sure, I think when we arrive in Monza, we would have signed both hands for P2 in the WEC race and a pole position as a cherry on the top, let's say. Of course, when we lead for 5 hours, it's always a bit disappointing that we finish P2. But I think it's actually a very good sign that we are now disappointed with the P2 in World Championship. It shows like the level of expectation is linked to the level of performance, and today that's what I want to remember. That's for me the most important.
When you're not so happy about the P2, it means that the team has made so much of a progress.
Yeah, absolutely. The team has made immense effort, immense progress. We made basically all the right calls throughout practice session, qualifying, first part of the race. We gave our everything. We fighted hard on track. We had a good car, and honestly speaking, today we didn't lose the race on track. But that's racing. Racing is really a team effort. In the end, we gained second place, by far our best result. Also the team result, because the sister car finished fourth. So we can be happy about P2 and 4. But yes, we are still a little bit disappointed because today we could have had the chance to win. Means we just keep on going, keep on working hard. I think we have left some mark this weekend and we can be very proud. Monza, thank you for everything.
As Rahel said, when you're not that happy about a P2, it means that the team really has a huge potential, and we've seen this weekend after weekend, and they can always impress every time. So I'm absolutely certain that their first victory in one of the championship that they are currently tackling, it will be a short time coming, really.
Short time coming, really, and it's very exciting to see about everything they've done in Monza. And of course, we got another race coming up for them that they're looking forward to next time as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The next race is going to be another quite iconic race because they have the 24-hour Spa-Francorchamps for the Endurance Cup of the GT World Challenge Europe. So that's a very big race, one of the biggest in GT racing, in GT3 racing. And we asked Sarah Bovy, who is actually the home hero there, because and she has done that race 5 other times. So it's going to be her 6th time at the 24-hour of Spa. We asked her to comment about the upcoming event.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great to be back in the 24 Hours of Spa. My last edition was 2018, I think, so it's been a while. The competition is higher and higher every year in that race. We know it's a crazy race, so I'm expecting something quite crazy. It's gonna be tough, but I think it's the first time I will get there with a team like this one. It's the first time I will get there with the preparation that I have this year, that the team has, that we know each other as teammates, you know, and we know we're gonna be competitive. So it's the first time I will have a real chance to fight for something. And for sure, when I see the way we build up our race week here in Monza, the pace we had, I know that we have all the chance to do a good race. Again, 0 mistakes were done by the driver over the 4 hours ELMS and the 6 hours of Monza. So I think it's a very good sign when you can say that the car is going back to the factory with absolutely no damage after 2 big races like that on a track as complicated as this one. So let's hope for the best for Spa.
Spa is such an intense track with elevation changes, how long each lap is. It's going to be really interesting to see if they could carry that positive momentum to Spa. Sarah Bovy, she has to be really excited about it, and I think a lot of potential for the Iron Dings at Spa, the 24-hour race there. Now, over here in the United States this past weekend, we had quite a few races around the country, starting off with Atlanta Motor Speedway. And of course, for all the NASCAR fans that are aware, Atlanta Motor Speedway acts like a super speedway. For fans wondering, what is a super speedway? Super speedway traditionally is 2 miles or longer, like Daytona or Talladega, with high banking and where you have the pack of 30 plus cars all traveling inches apart. Traditionally has been because of a restrictor plate. Now it's because of the aero package, which involves the engine, horsepower limit, spoiler to keep everyone together. And this race we had Natalie Decker for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Natalie Decker is not doing the full season. However, she's doing sporadic races here and there, especially road courses and the super speedway races. Those are tracks where with a super speedway, you put yourself in the right spot, the right time, you could get a really great finish, even if you don't have a car that's capable of taking the win. On the road courses, that's where she has a lot of experience. She's done a lot of road courses, especially when it comes to supercars as well as other vehicles. And Natalie Decker, she started 37, so second from last place. But throughout the race, she was able to move up to get up to the 27th position at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The big thing, of course, is just trying to avoid all the trouble at Atlanta Motor Speedway. When it comes to avoiding trouble, that's what Haley Deegan did at Mid-Ohio, the Truck Series at Mid-Ohio for the first time. And she had a rough go when it came to qualifying. 28th position. We've known she's been struggling all year long to just get good finishes, but this race turned out to be a turning point for her. She was driving the number one Craftsman Truck Series race at Mid-Ohio Road Course, and overall a solid run, kept it all on the racetrack, came home with a 10th place finish, her best finish of 2022. First top 10 finish, and overall, just a good way to try to put something together for the next couple of races because we're coming towards the end of the regular season. The Truck Series, similar to NASCAR in the Cup and Xfinity Series, they use a playoff system. You win a race, you get in the playoffs. If you're within the top 10 of points, you can get in the playoffs. Hailie Deegan is not eligible to get in through the points. She's so far behind. However, if she could get a win before the playoff starts, she's going to be in the playoffs. But then she's running out of time. This 10th place finish is a really good indicator that you have a good race. You could easily get top 10 finishes. She just needs to put that on week after week for her. And at number one, of course, there's still rumors of where she's going to be next year, potentially doing some Xfinity Series races. We've seen some drivers, they go from the Truck Series to Xfinities or Xfinity to Cup Series. They may have struggled in that lower series, but then they go to the other series and they seem to really excel. Case in point, Jimmy Johnson, one win in the Xfinity Series in his entire career, goes to the Cup, makes history. So a lot of potential for Hailie Deegan, a great effort for her at Mid-Ohio, and of course Natalie Decker at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And of course, those are two popular tracks here in the United States. Daniel, I feel Portimao, since Formula One has started going there, I feel like more American fans are becoming more and more familiar with that track, especially with the elevation changes. It's really, I think, starting to grow here in the United States, and we had a 24-hour race over at Portimao.
Yeah, good point. I think of the new tracks, the one built, in the last 15 years or so, Portimao is one of the really of the best ones. It's become a little bit of a modern classic, and we have some very, very interesting races. As you mentioned, after the Formula One had the Portuguese Grand Prix in two editions, it is starting to host some other interesting races, and we had over the weekend the 24-hour of Portimao, which is part of the Creventic 24-hour series, which is a really, really cool series, to be honest. The championship that won Samantha Tan last year. So we have there's always big fields in the several classes. And this year we had an interesting driver, Katarina Kivalova, in the GT4 class. She is very well known in the British racing scene, and especially in the historic racing, because she's racing like pre-war cars. Super cool. If you have the chance to go follow her on social media, she's a massive car enthusiast and collector. She has some really cool cars, and she participated in races like the Mille Miglia, the Monaco Historic GP, or the classic, the Le Mans Classic, with some really cool cars. So seeing her venturing into her contemporary GT machinery was pretty cool. She had raced 2 times previously in the Creventic Championship. She was in 2019 and in 2020 at the 24-hour of Dubai. And then she really wanted to do the Portimao 24-hour, but after the COVID, she put that plan a little bit on hold. So this year it was really the opportunity for her to race. She didn't have, interestingly, the opportunity to test before. So that, coming from someone that is not in the car a lot of the weekends like some other drivers, that's quite impressive to just climb into the car, which was a super cool looking Mercedes AMG GT4. And basically she won the GT4 class in spectacular fashion. They had pole position. They led most of the first 4 hours. Then a technical trouble. They lost a couple of laps. Went like four laps down. But then they had a really good and clean second part of the race. The strategy worked perfectly. She had really great night stints, which is always a little bit of tricky when you're not that used to it. Especially multi-class racing with GT3 cars going around. But she did amazing, really, and they won the 24 hour of Portimao. And we had a chat with Katarina in the day after her victory, and this is an excerpt from this phone call, from that phone conversation.
So it was actually for Ram Racing. It was the first outing in a GT4 car, so it was premiere for them to start with. And we actually planned to do 24 hours Portimao last year already and tested for it. And then it's been called off because of Corona, so COVID. So it was a long waiting actually for this particular race. And I haven't been testing. We didn't go testing before, so we started the week with test days to just get our head round. And as I've been racing in Le Mans at the historic Le Mans Classics last weekend, it was quite sort of tricky go from pre-war Bentley to GT4 car.
Yeah.
So it was very good for me go testing. Well, race itself, we had actually a very good start, but then we had the first issue. It was with the fuel valve. It was so hot, just got stuck. So what happened that we couldn't get actually any single liter of fuel into the car, though it was empty. It was my spin, so I had to go actually 3 times to the fuel station, and it was, we had to just pit and go garage and fix it. So we had actually 4 laps lead, and we were down, then being behind, I think 3 or something like that. So it was a very unfortunate start, and later on after 3 hours, I think. Yeah, but anyway, we got back, and it was a very, very good strategy from the team, very good rotation of drivers. It just really worked out perfectly, and we had absolutely nothing else, no other issues, technical issues. So it worked out also with Code 60 and night stints. Everything was actually smooth. So, and then here you go.
Very exciting to see, just to get in first race, get that win, amazing effort, and then to have that challenge too. And overall, just very exciting for her. And of course, here in the United States, a couple more road racing that was going on. It was the ARCA Menard Series. They were also a Mid-Ohio too. Not a 24-hour race, a much shorter race, the Dawn 150 there. And we had 2 racers there, starting with Tony Bredinger. Tony Bredinger, of course, been racing the entire season in the ARCA Menard Series. Right now, she is 4th place in the points, been staying up there in 4th place just about all season long. And overall, qualified 15th place. Road course racing, especially with the ARCA Menard Series cars, a lot of times these are old Cup Series stock cars, so they have much smaller brakes. So it's not like an Indy car or even the current NASCAR generation of car where they could do better at the road course. This one, you're on the brakes much more earlier, a lot more throttle play when it comes to accelerating the corners, trying not to spin your wheels. She came home 13th place, a couple laps behind the lap leaders. It was a 42-lap race. She was 40 laps into the race when she finished it. The other driver, Amber Balkin, she started 18th place. She had a nice streak going of 3 top 10 finishers in a row. That streak ended recently. She had fallen from 5th place in the points down to 6th place in the points. That's where she stood after the race at Mid-Ohio, when she came home in 15th place. Couple laps behind as well, 38 out of the 42 laps completed at Mid-Ohio for her. The race at Mid-Ohio, especially when it comes to stock cars, and then you add ARCA, there are a lot of caution flags, a lot of contact, a lot of spins, but the 2 of them managed to come home with their vehicle, finish the race, earn valuable points at the ARCA Menard Series, continues on, and they do not utilize a playoff system like NASCAR do. So it's traditional point system like we see in IndyCar Formula One. Roger Caruth leads that points, and Nick Sanchez looks like he might be questionable as to whether he'll do the rest of the season. It was announced about his Xfinity Series ride coming up to where it was ended. So a lot of potential still, especially if Amber Balkan could get a top 5 finish. Looks like Tony Brenniger, if she continues, she could be in the top 4. That'll be really exciting. Both of them, of course, looking to try to get that first win this year. And Daniel, we know there's quite a lot of upcoming races. What are some of the races this weekend you're going to be watching?
Yeah, there are some interesting races coming up this weekend. As you mentioned, NASCAR Xfinity will race at Luden with Julia Landauer making her debut effectively in the series. So that's going to be interesting to follow her. She's been racing in Euro NASCAR a couple of years ago. She was racing in the Canadian NASCAR in the Pinty series in 2019, if I'm not wrong. And then she had a couple of victories during the old ladder in NASCAR in stock cars. So that's going to be interesting to see Julia back in a competitive championship. Then we have the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge with Taylor Hagler and Sheena Monk. Taylor in the TCR category, of course, is the reigning champion, and so she just took back the lead of the standings last time out. So we'll be following her closely. They are racing at Lime Rock Park. Then also at Mugello, we have some interesting races. We have TCR Italy with Francesca Raffaele. She's a very young driver that she's coming back to racing into touring cars after one full season off after she had a massive testing crash. So she fully recovered, luckily, and she's now doing pretty well in her return season. Obviously, we also have at Mugello, we also have Italian GT, but it's this time it's the endurance series, and we have Francesca Linossi, who has recently swapped the team. She's now with Antonelli Motorsport in the Mercedes AMG GT3. Then we have some more interesting races like TCR UK with the W Series driver and Aston Martin F1 ambassador driver Jessica Hawkins. We have the GTC race, which is a cool GT3 championship in Germany with Kelly Schreiner and Vivian Scholhorn. Then we have the Indy Pro 2000 in Toronto, which is supporting IndyCar with Lindsay Brewer. We have the Ferrari Challenge North America in Indianapolis with Lisa Clark and Eileen Bildman in the Shell category. Then we have V8 Thunder Finland with Milla Mäkelä. They're racing in a very cool championship in national in Finland. And I think that and NASCAR Mexico, a lot of female drivers there. We have Regina Sirvent in the top class, while in the truck series we have Ximena Labastida, Valeria Aranda, Andrea Lozano, and Beatriz Ramirez. So quite a few female drivers. They're now racing at Pueblo in this weekend. So I think we will be pretty busy trying to following all these interesting championship and drivers.
And of course, for everyone that wants to follow everything, we encourage everyone to visit the website racersbehindthehelmet.com. Get a full listing of all the upcoming race weekend and the drivers in each race. And of course, racersbehindthehelmet.com, all the race recaps, news from around the racing world, and all the females racing in motorsports. And of course, one thing we know, Daniel, with IndyCar, they're racing this weekend, but unfortunately, due to sponsorship issues, Tatiana is sitting out this race weekend. We're hopeful that she'll be back in the IndyCar series the following race weekend. And of course, later on, the IndyCar series, they'll be in Portland, Oregon, and we'll be there as well. Final thoughts before we go off the air. I know we had a lot of racing to cover. Any final thoughts before we're all done for?
Well, I would say that it was quite a big weekend for female for women in motorsport, with the historic podium, pole position, quite some victories. We talked about Katarina's victory in 24-hour Portimao, but also there was like Irina Sidorkova winning her first race in touring cars. We had also Extreme E with Michaela Olen-Kotlinski winning the Island X Prix, and also Sarah Price winning the for Ganassi Racing winning the Island X Prix during the week, because they had a double header. So a lot of female victories, to be honest, to report. It was quite a big weekend, and we just think that we can carry momentum, and every week in every episode of Women in Motorsport we can continue to report more and more female victories.
Yeah, more and more female victories, more and more females getting poles, accomplishing all the stuff in motorsport, because the car doesn't know gender. It's just a matter of experience. And of course, this race weekend will be very excited to follow what Julia does. Then the next race weekend, we'll be previewing the W Series. They're back. Can Jamie Chadwick make it another win in a row? We're very excited. We're going to have Joshua Birch from Joshua Birch Motorsports join us for that W Series preview next race weekend. We again want to thank all our Patreon subscribers, Come the Show, Mark and Robin, for keeping us on the air. They invest in the GRIDnet each and every month, and you can do the same as well on Patreon, or buy me a coffee with a one-time contribution. And be sure to visit our sponsor, public.com. Public.com, you get $5 in free stock. You use the referral code GRIDnet. Use their tools to learn about investing in the stock market. They have podcasts, little tutorials, and of course, you can make friends or meet current friends on public.com. Very exciting race weekend in the books. We got another exciting one coming up ahead. And then, of course, the following weekend, the W Series Daniel Summer is really exciting time of racing, and we're very excited for all these races here. For Downs Area Races, the Girls Behind the Helmet, I'm Joe San Diego. Thank you for watching today's program. We'll see you next time.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform, public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest and start investing and networking on public.com.